Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Corpo Giardino Yoga Practices. See. Welcome back. As usual, I always wait a couple of minutes so that we can slowly begin. Normally, Facebook takes 1 minute to send the notification, maybe a bit less, to the students and to the person who interested in join our Facebook Live. So I wait a couple of minutes so that we can begin to talk about a very interesting, super interesting topic in the yoga world and in the yoga practice, especially if you want to practice this in the long term and nourish about your well-being in the long term. So again, and if you're watching the live video or if you're watching the replay, you can drop a comment in the comment section below telling me from where you're watching and how you feel this morning. I go first. I'm watching from Switzerland. No, I'm leading this Facebook Live, not watching, from Switzerland. We're very close to the mountains in the Wienerwalde. And I'm feeling energized this morning. I could rest a lot last night. I had a very beautiful round of sleep, and now I feel energized with a lot of also joy in my heart. So let me know how you feel from where you're watching, and if you experienced in the past or currently resistances to step on the mat, to simply get on your mat and practice, because I will tell you it happens and probably it will happen again in the future. It still happens to me right now after almost 9 years of practicing and 8 years of teaching. Actually, no, there are 9 years of teaching and almost 10 years of practice. So time flies, really. Time flies. So I would say that we begin. Welcome back into this Facebook Live. My name is Andrea and I am the founder of Corpo Giardino Yoga Practices, a Swiss-based yoga company who supports high energy, passion-driven women, basically also busy women looking for more balance into their life. How? By applying yoga tools daily and following the wisdom of nature, we can not only create, but sustain balance in the long term. And today we really focus on the sustain part. And today I want to talk about, as I said before, about resistances. What are resistances, why we feel it, and the feeling anytime we want to do something good for ourselves, anytime we put in place strategies and action to nourish and care of our well-being, then resistances come along the way. Self-sabotage comes and shows up in our life and in our practice and a day-to-day routine. One of my favorite author in this moment that I discovered lately basically is Steven Pressfield. Steven Pressfield is a writer, but he wrote a lot about the creative process and how if you are a creative person or an entrepreneur, how to turning your life and to creating your life, setting up your life, organize your life so that you can serve the art and you can have an approach which is pro and not amateur. For example, is the author of Turning Pro. And he's also the author of The War of Art, where he says that resistance is triggered by any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity. And I said it again because I find it important. Resistance is triggered by any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity. And it also triggered by any acts that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower one. Higher nature instead of our lower one. What does it mean moving and acting from our higher nature? It means when we decide that we want to, for example, prioritize ourselves and our needs, if we spend our life putting our needs or ourselves at the bottom of the to-do list because we had believed that maybe we didn't deserve this or there was enough time to take care of ourselves. But then something happened and we decided we want to prioritize ourselves as first thing on the top of the to-do list. And then for that we change some of our behaviors. Like for example, we start to practice yoga or we start to eat well and eat healthy. And these behaviors, maybe they stay for 3 days, if we're lucky for weeks, and then something happens. Resistance come along. Self-sabotage come along because if we still believe that we don't deserve that, even if we act in a different way, it would be very difficult that new habit will be integrated in our day-to-day life. So we really need to look at this resistance as a mirror to our beliefs and what we believe about ourselves and our life. So the mind can be very, very creative in creating self-sabotaging strategies and self-sabotaging actions. One of my favorite ones, so I created a list of my favorite self-sabotaging strategies that I put in place when I'm committed to myself and to grow, as Steven Pressfield said. And I'm going to read a couple of my favorite self-sabotaging strategies. So the first one is that I procrastinate anything related to my well-being, like for example, practicing yoga. If it's a couple of days that I don't get on my mat and I don't step on my mat, I know that first of all, there is something inside that I don't want to see, because practicing yoga is really being in front of the mirror. And sometimes it's because I'm sabotaging myself and I don't believe that I deserve to feel good and energized and focused and determined. When I spend maybe 1 month sometimes to eat healthy, to cook for myself, which is something that I love, but then the first time that I feel sad or a bit more depressed, I eat junk food. And I know that is the strategy that I put in place to sabotage the month that I spent cooking for myself, finding healthy recipes, or just feeling good about myself, because sometimes I still believe that I don't deserve that. Or when I keep scrolling on Instagram, so thank you Facebook, or watching random YouTube documentaries or random stuff in Netflix, when I know I have a deadline around the corner, especially when this deadline is connected to the very personal project or something that I have to and need to create, so that it's coming out from me, for example, related to my business. Another great way for me to sabotage myself is to set unrealistic goals, so that I can say and tell myself after I couldn't achieve it because they were really not realistic, see, Andrea, you're not organized enough, you're not precise enough, you're not working hard enough, and then basically I am punishing myself with these thoughts because it's a strategy that I put in place to confirm the fact that I'm not good enough. And the last one, which is connected to what Steven Pressfield was saying before, is that I don't respect the high standards that I care in my life, in my business life, and in my love life, so that I can tell myself when that happened, not respecting the high standards, see, this life, maybe this is not really for you, right, Andrea? When in reality, what I'm really telling myself is, I'm afraid to grow. I'm afraid to commit to myself. I'm afraid to commit to my needs and to my well-beings. I'm afraid to get out of my comfort zone and become the best version of myself. I am simply afraid to do that. Because when I do that, it means getting out of the comfort zone, which is never funny, but we can't grow if we don't get out of the comfort zone. It's basically impossible. And when I commit myself and to my needs and to my well-being, and I prioritize my health, sometimes I will smash against maybe people around me, and I will create maybe frictions and resistances with the people around me because I'm changing a behavior that I normally have. And this is scary for me sometimes. So as you can see, the resistances, they show up in a different ways in each and every of us. What about the yoga practice? How resistances, they show up in a yoga practice? When I am in this self-sabotaging storm and I don't get up early in the morning to practice, or I skip my morning practice, or even if I have 5 minutes and I try to practice and place my feet on my mat, it takes me normally from 10 to 20 minutes to shift my mind. In these first 10 or 20 minutes, I always have thoughts like, oh, I don't want to practice, I'm feeling tired, I just want to sleep, or I just want to crawl in balasana or shavasana or take a nap, just leave me alone, I want to hide under a blanket and basically hide from myself and from the rest of the world and the things that I need to do today. And oh my God, no, please somebody save me from another sun salutation. This is so boring. I still have these thoughts passing in my head when I step on the mat, and I don't want to step on the mat. I don't want to practice, because sometimes even after 10 years and I'm doing this as a main profession, I don't want to practice in the morning. I just want to sleep. And I mean, sometimes it's good to sleep also and to rest, but sometimes when I want to sleep a bit more, it's just because I'm sabotaging myself. I'm sabotaging the feeling of feeling great. And so it takes me from 10 to 20 minutes, more or less, to shift and flip my mind from complaining, a very low type of thoughts, complaining that I'm tired, I don't want to sleep, blah, 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 to actually this feels very good. I'm feeling great right now. I'm feeling energized. I'm focused. My mind is clear. And why did it happen? How, I would say, not why, how this can happen? Because I decided not to follow the thoughts and the lower energy thoughts that I had at the beginning, but I decided to stay focused and keep focusing on my breath and on my movement. So basically, I'm distracting my mind. I'm triggering my mind. I'm distracting my mind from what I'm thinking to what I'm feeling. And after 10 minutes, these thoughts, they disappear, and I feel great about myself. I feel beautiful. I feel whole. I feel grounded. I feel strong. I feel open and flexible, like after a very good yoga class. So remember the feeling after a very good yoga class. This is how I feel after 10 to 20 minutes after I begin my yoga practice. And today I want to share with you other ways that you can apply in your day-to-day life to flip resistances at 180 degrees. First of all, we need to acknowledge and to need to be aware that we are in a self-sabotaging storm and that resistances are showing up. And normally resistances, they show up when we decide to commit to ourselves. Like, for example, yoga, it's a great tool to commit to our well-being because it nourishes the mental, physical, and emotional and energetic well-being. So maybe if you start to practice yoga regularly, probably you will experience resistances and self-sabotaging storm. And other 5 ways that I found it useful in my experience and also the experience of my students. First of all, create a routine, possibly always at the same hour in the morning, so that you know it becomes so natural after a while. And so you're so used to that, it's like washing your face in the morning. You know that at 7:30 in the morning you step on the mat and you're there for 5 minutes, for 1 hour. That it's not really important. The question is, I'm going to do it. Another great thing that I do basically since a couple of years is that I prepare myself. The evening before, I prepare my mat in my sacred space, which is my living room. Right now, I prepare a mocha because I love a coffee in the morning, so it gives me time a bit to wake me up. And I prepare myself mentally to get up in the morning and feel good about myself. The second thing that the way that you can flip these resistances is to keep it small but consistent. Remember, before I said that one of my favorite strategies to self-sabotage myself is to set up unrealistic goals so that I can say, see, you didn't reach your goals, you're not enough. So now I know that I don't set up or plan to practice for 90 minutes, which is not realistic with my working schedule, but I don't plan any time. But I know that 5 minutes are enough to flip my mind. 10 minutes are enough to nourish my well-being. 15 minutes are enough to nourish my well-being. So keep it small, but keep it consistent. Consistency is one of the most important thing if you want to integrate the practice in your day-to-day life. Third way, write down how you feel after a very good yoga class. I mean, very good. After a nourishing and energizing and uplifted yoga class. Write down how you feel. And anytime you don't want to practice, take that paper again, read the words out loud so that the words you can evoke and stimulate those feelings. Remember, communication and language is very powerful, and we can evoke those feelings and feeling attracted to them so that we can convince ourselves to go and practice. Third way to flip out your resistances is to find a yoga bestie, find a friend that also loves yoga, and schedule a weekly appointment once a week to go and practice together in a studio or at home, or maybe with us in Corpo Giardino yoga practices, no matter where you feel more comfortable to, so that sometimes it's easier for us to show up when we are expected. And in two, you can keep each other accountable. And it's fun, basically, no? The fifth way, which is the last one, so way number 5, is to smile, is to laugh with yourself, not at yourself, but with yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Take the time to step back when you have this self-sabotaging storm and laugh about yourself. Laugh about the fact that sometimes we find so creative ways to self-sabotage and to put ourselves in our way, and the mind wants to keep us basically in our comfort zone. Comfort zone is what we know. Comfort zone is what keeps us also small. And smile, and that part of yourself, smile anytime you feel that, because if you're feeling resistances, if you struggle sometimes to get on the mat, but you do it anyway, if you have these cycles of I'm doing a great job and I'm taking care of myself, and maybe sometimes you go down again and you stop eating healthy and you stop practicing yoga and journaling and whatever, it's important that here you do realize it again, so that you can slowly begin to take care of yourself again. And this cycle is very common, and this cycle is a good sign at the end if you're feeling resistances, because it means that you are committed to get out of your comfort zone and to shift something, to transform something in your life that is not working, like prioritizing your needs, putting yourself as first thing at the top of your to-do list, because you know that if you don't feel good, if you don't feel fine and great about yourself, the rest can't really come. And no, if you want to experience less stress, if you want to stress less life, if you want to learn how to not burn out anymore, if you want to learn how to manage your energy, to manage your time, and to set boundaries for yourself, when you decide that you want to do that, you will experience resistance. It's part of the journey, but through resistances we can really get to know ourselves on a deeper level, learn where our mind is still believing something that is not functioning for us anymore, which is not useful for us anymore, and flip it. So if you feel resistances, that's okay, but keep doing it anyway. Go back to yourself, go back to your practice, and believe me, your life will change, and you will learn how to take your life in your hands and transform it. So this was my idea. This is what I wanted to share with you about resistances. And again, if you are feeling resistances right now, or if you felt resistances or self-sabotaging storm in your mind, you can drop a comment right now, and you can share with me what is your favorite strategy to self-sabotage yourself. Also to realize that we are not alone. Sometimes when we are too concentrated on ourselves, we believe that we are the only one feeling in that way, but actually it's a very common, absolutely common feeling to feel resistances. Isabel, I'm reading your comment. Yeah. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you. That it makes me happy and joyful to see, because then we can relate one to each other. We can see a version of ourselves in what I'm saying, because as I said before, we basically more or less react in the same way. And when we know that there is somebody who is experiencing the same way, the same struggles and the same difficulties, like resistances, we know that we are not alone, and we know that we can't move forward. We can learn how to manage them and deal with them in a completely different way. And I'm very glad, Isabel, that you feel encouraged and understood. Absolutely, thank you. And if you need more support from my side, remember, I'm always here for you. I love this community. I love to support these incredible and brilliant women to find balance into their life, because we need more brilliancy. I don't know if it's an existing term in English. We need more talent from passion-driven women, from high energy women. We need more brilliancy outside in our world. And there's no time to burn out. There is no time to be so stressed out. There's absolutely no time. It's not an option anymore. And I love to do this because I love then to see women empowered by yoga tools, because they learn how to manage their time, manage their energy, set up boundaries, and taking good care about themselves. So thank you again, Isabel. My heart is really warming up and full of joy reading your words. Again, if you're watching the replay, you can always contact me. You can always reach out to me. I'm here for you. say that, I wish you a beautiful day. Before I wish you a beautiful day, remember I said 5 ways to flip off resistances, which are write down how you feel after a very good yoga class. Keep it small, but keep it consistent. Find a yoga friend to practice with. Smile and laugh about this and yourself, and don't take yourself too seriously, and set up a yoga routine that you can lean on every morning. So these are the 5 ones. Pick one of this. If you're actually feeling resistances, pick one of this and apply it into your life for 1 week, and then tell me how it goes. Tell me how you feel, if you could turn around and flip resistances, and if this was useful to you, or if you found your own way to flip resistances. Remember, pick one of these 5 things and do it for 1 week, and let us know. Now I can wish you a beautiful journey, a beautiful rest of the week, and a beautiful day. See you next week with another Facebook Live, and bye, and thank you. Bye.